welcome back to a tournament report. So this is not a proper battle report, it's like with photographs and all that kind of stuff. And this is for the Welcome to Pannithor tournament, which is the first version 3 tournament in the UK Kings of War calendar. Core armies only, because at that time the Uncharted Empire supplement wasn't out. It was out for 1 day, so nobody had it. So it was core armies only. 2,000 points. It was in Worcester. It was 18-player tournament. 3 games of 2,000 points. The scoring system was 15 for a victory, 10 for a draw, 5 for a loss, and then you had 5 points for how much you'd killed in various scales. So you can get 0 to 5 points additional for how much you'd killed, not attrition, kills, and then an additional 5 points for how much you'd won the scenario. So you can have, for example, if it was a objective based scenario, you had 1 additional point for each objective you'd captured, all that kind of stuff. So maximum 25 per game. So I had bought my Undead to this because I've been working on Undead army, which I'm pretty pleased with. It's come out really nicely. This was an army that I repainted, somebody else's army that I bought that wasn't very well painted, so I've repainted it gradually, and I'm pretty pleased with it. So this is the list I've gone for. So 2 troops of ghouls, which actually are zombies, if you look at the models, but they count as ghouls. A horde of revenants, which are actually skeletons, but bear with me, we'll get there, with a brew of strength. A horde of werewolves with potion of the caterpillar. A regiment of wraiths, because wraiths are brilliant. A troop of revenant cavalry, because rev cavalry are even better than wraiths. A regiment of soul reaver cavalry with blessing of the gods, to give them elite. A gore blight, which is the new monster. A rev king on Undead great flying worm, and I give him breath and the surge upgrade. A necromancer, who I'd given drain life to, on top of his normal surge 6 and the inspiring talisman. And Morgoth the Faithless, who is gross. So this is not like the ideal list I would take. It's based on the models that I had, and it's basically my version 2 list that I was working on, upgraded a little bit. So I'd probably change around the Soul Reaver Cav. So just because I had the models, right? But whites, I think, are better. They're punchier. Don't quite have the range, but I think whites are fantastic. I probably wouldn't take the dragon, but I painted a really cool dragon, the worm, so I wanted to take him. I definitely wouldn't take breath because it's terrible. I'd probably take a Lich King for a second Morgoth, because Morgoth's ability is wild. And if you take the Lich King with Boots Levitation, you've basically got 2 Morgoths, one slightly less good than the other. So a couple of things I'd change, but I'd want to try out Death Pack rather than Ghouls because I think they're really super. However, this is the list I've got, and the point of it, it's a basic kind of I think, according to Carl Poole's podcast, it's a hammer and anvil list. So distracted one side, punch through on the other. That's the plan with this list, and it's very, very punchy. So on to game 1, where I was facing a guy called Simon and his Northern Alliance. So I've played Sai before at Clash of Kings. He was the Night Stalker player that I played, but he's bought Northern Alliance for the first time. So let's take a look at his list. So this is the Northern Alliance. So he had an Ice Naiad Horde. These are the ensnaring ones. With Chalice of Wrath. He had 2 hordes of ice elementals, which are brilliant. They shoot and surge. They're shambling, so you can shoot with them and then surge them in. They're just fantastic, and they get the icy breath, so they reduce your speed by 1 when you're hit by them. Regiment of Huskars, who are basically like the Fallen but slower, with Blessing of the Gods. So that's a super punchy unit, bit slow but good. 2 regiments of Pack Hunters that he's given the javelins to. So that gives them a ranged attack. I want to say piercing 1. 2 regiments of Snow Foxes as chaffs. They're not as good as Tundra Wolves, but they're still normal chaff. A Lord on Frostfang, so it's a mounted Lord with Blade of Slashing. An Ice Queen, and he swapped... has he given her Surge 8? Yeah, he swapped Icy Breath for Surge, given her Heal and Bane Chant. So a little, Swiss Army knife of a caster there. 1 Snow Troll Prime that he's given the Zephyr Crown to, so that's a Wind Blast attack that damages, I think. Might be wrong. And a Thane. So Talonar's Standard gives him, he says, reaching for the rulebook. I think it gives him Rally 2, possibly. Live looking up. This is great listening, isn't it? You're not even watching anything yet. Thane, here he is. Rally 1 for 15 points. And the Inspiring Talisman. So he's got 3 attacks on 3s. It's pretty good, 50 points. yeah, and that was my opponent's list. So while I like this list, I think it's a little slow. He needs some faster elements, I think, to really make this work. I like the pack hunters when they're behind the ice elementals. I prefer the God, I just said what they were. He says, reaching for the book again. You enjoying this? I'm not enjoying this. I like to be more prepared. That's a lie. I'm never prepared. Tundra wolves. I do prefer tundra wolves to snow foxes. They are a little bit more expensive, but they are so much better hitting on 3s. Depends what you want them for, I guess. Anyway, apart from that, I like the list. So let's have a look at the battlefield. So this was the battlefield. One of the things that the people that run this tournament, who are called the Celestial Forge, actually, they're called Richard and Stefan, they're really hot on making really nice looking boards. Their terrain is superb. And you'll see through this battle, the terrain really is very lovely and the boards are very nice. And they're all themed. So this one's themed around a dwarven distillery, and I'll show you their page they put for it in a bit. But you can see there's a lot of terrain. So there are 4 forests, which they put as height 6, so you can hide titans behind them. 1 height 3 hill, giant hill there. Lots of little barriers around the 4 height 6 buildings. So the theme of this is like a dwarven distillery. But you'll notice that the map is really packed on the right hand side and a lot more open on the left, and that's important, I think, as we go forward. So this is the little thing they did with it. So it's Beltarith. You can read that. It says the small dwarven summit of Beltarith can be found on a blah 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 blah. There you go. A little bit of fluff to go with the board, which is very nice. There we go. So the scenario is invade. So for version 3, it's when you have to get more unit strength than your opponent. Majority over the middle line. So it's changed from completely over to majority over the middle line. So that's pretty simple. So let's take a look at deployment. So I lost the roll for sides, and Side chose the top of this picture as his side of the board. So the side without all the terrain on it. And I thought, that's interesting. So let's see how I deployed. So we're now looking at the bottom of the picture. So right the way on the left here, where in this area here is where we're looking. Okay, so we've got behind the house, we've got my wraiths right on the left. These are the wraiths here, and then we've got Morgoth the Faceless here. We've got the Soul Reaver Cavalry with the Revenant Cavalry in front of them, and then behind the house we've got the Revenant King on Undead Great Flying Worm. The only non-mantic bit of my army, by the way. This is actually Zacharias the Ever Living, which is a little dragon model that came with the army that I bought that I painted up, which I think looks cool. And then next to him, so this is now in the middle of the board, we've got the Horde of Revenants with the Gorblight behind it, a troop of ghouls, and the Necromancer, which is the Necromancer from the new Vanguard Undead set. It's really cool. It's like a lizard Necromancer. And then right the way over the right hand side of the board, we've got the other troop of ghouls and my werewolf sitting in a forest. So on my opponents, facing off against the werewolves and the ghouls, these are the Horde of Naiads, Ice Naiads, and then he's got one Horde of Ice Elementals, 2 Horde of Ice Elementals, and that's the Ice Queen behind them. So there's the other Ice Elementals. This is one of the Snow Foxes. This giant model is the Snow Troll for the time being, and this base full of dudes is the Huskar Regiment. Okay, so he's stacked heavily on the left. And then on the right hand side, against all my hitty stuff, he's got his 2 pack hunters with javelins. This is the guy on the, whatever it was called, the beast thing. He's got his Thane is here with the rallying and another regiment of snow foxes. So I've managed, I was obviously paying attention at the beginning of the day to take a photo of the whole battlefield, which I don't think I managed to do for the rest of the game, so I apologise for that. But this is fine. We can look at this one. So as we started deploying, he chose sides, and he started to deploy over here, because obviously if you're doing invade, you want to get the open battlefield so you can just kind of power through this way. And I looked at that and I thought, that's interesting. So the first thing I put down, I think, was werewolves over here, because I actually wanted him to put as much as possible here. And I put ghouls, and by that point he put both his Ice Elemental Hordes, and he was pretty committed on this side, okay? And then I started to put stuff in the middle here. So by the time I'd got through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. He's deployed the majority of his armies here. And then I'm starting to deploy my really, so the Soul Reavers and stuff over here. And the reason I was thinking is this. I like lots of terrain because it allows me to do nasty things with Surge, to maneuver in between the buildings and use the buildings to block my flanks and stuff like that. In the meantime, he's quite slow. This is all slow. I'm speed 9 with the werewolves and speed 6 with the ghouls. So I can spend a lot of time distracting him while he tries to come over here. I can wipe out all this stuff and then swing around here to save the day. I've got my most durable unit, which is the Revenants here, who can just sit against buildings while these guys come across. So that's my battle plan. On to turn 1. So I lost turn 1, and so I took it, and he trundled his stuff forward, expected as you would expect. Snow Foxes kind of jumped out in front, and then on this side he trundled stuff forward, and he moved his guy on a mount. I'm gonna look at what that's called. I can't just call him guy on a mount for the entire flipping battle report. Is it? No, Lord on Frostfang. The Lord on Frostfang. He jumped him out here, and I thought, that's cool. I'm pleased about that, because that's where my Wraiths are, and they are very surgeable. So this is what it looks like at the end of his turn. So you can see my Wraiths here are ready to say hello, because I've got Surge 10 and Surge 8. So I think I can Surge into him on turn 1. On my turn 1, I move everything forward. So the Revenant King or Worm moved here. My Cav moved up with the Soul Reavers behind them, and the Wraiths moved up here. So this is a surge of about, I want to say, 8 or 9. I think 8 it was actually, because Morgoth, being utterly broken, flew 20 and flew behind him. So these guys can't see Morgoth. Then on this side, I enacted my little plan. So the ghouls jumped in front here, and the Revenants moved up. So I kind of want to distract a little bit and offer some threat here, because on the other side, just to really drive the message home, the werewolves came out here and pointed this way. So something is going to have to come this way. The thing I'm most worried about in this army is actually not these guys. It's not the Ice Elementals. It's the Ensnarers, Ice Naiads, because they're ensnaring. And if he gets them into cover, I will never be able to break them. I don't want them anywhere near the rest of my army. They are an annoying anvil that I can't get rid of. So I've moved the werewolves over here, so he has to respond down here. And then the ghouls are just sitting here waiting to be annoying next turn. And then, of course, I got the surge off. So I managed to surge the 8 to come this way. And we have a turn 1 charge, which, yay, on the Lord on Frostfang. I'm not particularly worried about these attacks or these attacks, because defense 6 and no crushing. All right. Even better, the Wraiths knock it out of the park, do 4 points of damage, and waver him on the first turn. Dread obviously helps, because I've got Dread from Morgoth here. That is a fantastic result. The Lord on Frostfang, he says, looking it up in the book, again, just to annoy everyone, but especially me. Northern Lights. The Lord on Frostfang is a 15-17. So I rolled a 10. And this was a theme. I roll exceptionally well in this game, and you will see what happens. So, on to turn 2. So that's not a great start for the Northern Lights. And as predicted, he actually sends more of his army than I thought he would this way, which is fantastic. So he sent the Ice Elementals, the Snow Foxes and the Naiad this way, and he's put his little Ice Queen in the middle. And he's put the rest of his army. So these are the really punchy infantry horde, one of the elementals, and the snow troll the other way to face off against my revenant horde, which is great. So I'm really pleased about how this is going so far. And then on this side, so he has a couple of choices, and then he sends the snow foxes into the revenant cavalry, and he sends one of these units into the flank of the wraiths. And then the other ones, I think they tried to shoot Morgoth. So they are shooting thing. Javelins. They're going to javelin him. Okay, so that's what happens. 1 point of damage from the Snow Foxes onto the Revcav, which is not enough to even warrant a nerve roll. 4 points of damage from that onto the side of the Wraiths, which is enough to warrant a nerve roll, but they're dash 16, so we have to roll a 12 twice, and that didn't happen. So my turn 2, I respond like this. So rather than use the Revcav to go into the Snow Foxes, I want to get the Soul Reaver Cav in the battle as much as possible. So the Revcav simply, they do disengage, but they don't move backwards. They just move sideways, allowing the Soul Reaver Cav to come in. And then the Dragon, I had a little think about what to do with the Dragon, because he's not really a melee creature, but I think 20 attacks on 4s and 2s is probably enough. So I send him into the flank of these Pack Hunters, and I go into the Lord on Frostfang again with the Wraiths, and then Morgoth just hops backwards because he doesn't like being shot, at least not shot without movement, so he moves back, which moves him out of inspiring range, but it doesn't really matter because I've still got the inspiring from the worm. I just don't manage the dread now. I think that this is still 6, so the Lord still gets dread, but these guys don't get dread. And then I send the ghouls into the front of the really punchy people and move the revenants up. And I make a bit of a mistake, and you'll see why. So I move the Gorblight here because the Gorblight is quite surgible, so my Necromancer is safe behind this building, and I move the Gorblight up to be ready to come in here. But the gap that I've left here, this gap, is a little bit too big because he's got his Snow Troll Prime here, who can then come in and does next turn. So that was a mistake, but never mind, we'll see how that goes. And then, what I think is move of the century. So my werewolves were here. I looked at all of this and went, nah, I don't think so. Don't like that. So he turned around and legged it 18, which I thought was pretty funny. And then I moved the ghouls up. So you can see I've got the arrow here, and that's the other troll. So I moved the ghouls up because they're can't be seen by anyone. So someone is going to have to commit some resource, either by surge or by shooting, to sort me out next turn. Otherwise they're going to get ghouls on them, which is never nice because ghouls are actually relatively good hitters. So that was my turn 2. Alright, yes, so obviously Soul Reavers absolutely smashed the Snow Foxes, decimated bits of fox everywhere, and overran. If you're interested, by the way, which I doubt you are, this is a version 1 Twilight Kin miniature, who has now made it into the Twilight Kin list, but I've made him a vampire. Anyway. Who's that? That's the Dragon. So only 7 wounds. Well, it's pretty good, to be fair. 20 attacks on 4s and 2s. Probably could have been better. Could have killed them, didn't roll it, so a waiver on them, so that's alright by me. And even better, we do another 6 wounds onto the Lord on Frostfang with the ghouls, which is ridiculous on a unit that's this... Oh, no, I know why. It wasn't just him. We did drain life as well, so Morgoth drained him, and the ghouls went in. Up to 10 wounds, and another waiver. So I only needed a 5 or 6 to waiver, a 4 even, a 4 to waiver him, and a 6 to kill him. So I didn't roll the kill, but I did a second waiver. That was disappointing because I would have liked to have been clearing off some of this stuff in turn 2. As it is, I'm going to have to spend turn 3 mopping up this side, which is not where I wanted to be. So a little bit slower than planned, but there you go. It's still going okay. On to turn 3. Oh, that's just to show that we managed 3 wounds. The ghouls rolled out the park. Ghouls are 12 attacks on 4s. Managed 3 wounds onto the old, whatever they're called. Flick through the book. Huskarls to their heavy infantry. Pretty good. Defense 5, making on 3s, 20 attacks. Gross. But we did 3 wounds, which I think is pretty cool. Anyway, they countercharged or remained engaged. And on this side, so realising what I've done, he's turned everything around and trolleyed over here. And these ice elementals have turned and they're going to shoot my ghouls. And over here you see that the models turned to the side because the great big club didn't quite fit under the building. But Snow Troll went into the Gorblight, which is not great. And then the ice elementals came in here. So the plan is to shoot the revenants and then surge them in. On this side, the other pack of javelin pack, the other regiment of pack hunters with javelins charged the dragon because they didn't have a choice, and the Thane charged the Soul Reaver cavalry. So he's not mighty, but he needs to do 1 point of damage off his 3 attacks to stop them just basically running through him, and then everything else is wavered. So, yep, that's to show that the ghouls are gone. They got shot off, which is fair enough. Can't complain. And 5 points of damage from the breath, or the icy breath, and then the surge hit. So the ice elementals are now in on the revenants, and then another 3 points of damage from the actual melee, which is fine. So 8 is a lot of damage, but very survivable. Okay, and the ghouls died, because ghouls die. That's their job. So there we are. So now on to my turn 3. So, just damage. So the pack hunters managed to do 1 point of damage onto the dragon. The Thane managed 2 out of his 3 attacks damaged on the Soul Reaver Cav. And why have I got 3 points of damage here? I think it was 4 last turn, wasn't it? So I've just life leached 1 back because nobody can hurt me because they're all wavered. So on turn 3, I continued my cowardly retreat. Decided that there's nothing that I can do here because these guys are coming. So I'll just leg it some more. So I went another 18, as far away as possible, around the back of the house. Bye-bye. So the Snow Troll did 4 points of damage onto the Gore Blight, by the way. So the Gore Blight remain engaged here as well. So that's lots of carrying on hitting stuff. I just need the Revenants to survive 1 more turn. So this and this, I need to survive 1 more turn. Okay, and then the stuff can. That's why I needed the stuff to die quicker on the other side. So it's looking a bit shaky, but I have got my werewolves coming around, so that's good. And over here, so Soul Reaver's countercharge, you little man. I looked at this guy on 10 wounds, and I thought I probably can drain him off. I think we can drain life with Morgoth on that. So the wraiths. Yes. So we pulled back an inch, and then we could see the corner of this unit. So then we were here, right, like that, which meant that my line of sight was here, so I could simply turn slightly, like that, and charge in. Right. So then lift and drop. Because we're flying, so we can do whatever we like, basically. Charge into the pack hunters here, which also puts me in the right direction. Dragon front charge these guys, because actually I don't want them doing anything. They can die next turn. And then the Revenant Cavalry were like this, which is a bad place to actually be if you're this kind of base. So I just basically turned all the way around like that. There we go. And that's the Radiant. Was it called? Radiant? Something of Death? Cloak of Death from the Gore Blights puts point of damage onto both of them, which I like. So we drain life onto the Lord of Frostfang. He goes up to 13. He's a 15, 17. And he dies. Boom. And everyone gets healed. The little hero dies to the Soul Reavers, who then turn because they are ready to join the party. Even better, the Wraiths kill off the Pack Hunters, who were on 7 wounds before, which is not unreasonable, I think. And then, move of the match, the dragon utterly decimates the other Pack Hunters. So this is when I started to roll ridiculously. Every nerve roll I rolled was a 10 or an 11. The dice were loving me. So we have now, effectively turn 3, killed everything on this side. It's all gone. And we are ready to turn in and bring in. So I no longer need these guys to survive 2 turns, they just need to survive 1 turn. So then, continuing my roll of ridiculousness, the Gore Blight does 2 extra wounds onto the Snow Troll. And by this point, because I'd rolled so well, I'd done 2 ridiculous nerve rolls. I said, I'll swap my nerve dice. I picked up some new dice, and I went, oh, I need a 10 to waver him. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I rolled a 10, wavering the Snow Troll. Which was funny for me, not for him. And then, there's the 10. Yeah. So sorry, that's a story that you should imagine now. So with the Snow Troll, I rolled a 10 to waver him, and then I swapped the nerve dice, and I said, "Oh look, I can't remember how many points of damage here. I think I have 7 points of damage off the Revenants onto your Ice Elementals. I think I need a 7 to kill them. I think I need 10 to kill them again." And he looked at me, and I rolled a 10, and they died. So that's the story. It's less fun the second time. Anyway, moving on. So now I've killed just everything. Dice, love me. Turn 4. So turn 4, the super punchy Huskars come into the 7 points of damage Revenants, so that's worrying. and he's got his other trolls have come up. So the dogs are now trying to chase down my werewolves because that's what they've got to do. The naiads are just stuck in Slowtown, but the other elementals have come over to shoot stuff. So look at that, 7 points of damage up to 16. So that is 9 damage, which is gross, but they are a dash 24. So 16, 20, he needed an 8 to kill them, and he did not get an 8, which is disappointing for him. And on my turn 4, the cavalry, quite literally, are coming. So because they didn't manage to kill them, I had a flank from the dragon. So if you look back here, quite pleased with these photographs here. So here's the dragon. The unit would have been there-ish, right? That's a flank. It's within 20. Oof. So dragon pops in, Morgoth pops in behind to do dread and some drain life, and everyone else is rumbling over to say hi. There's not a lot the werewolves can do around there. I don't need them anymore, so I just turn them around because the knights are going to try and get over here to get the unit strength over the half. So the werewolves decide to say hello to some foxes and eviscerate them. So there you go. That's what happens when you take a dragon in the flank, revenants in the front, and drain life. The Huskars went perplam. And the Gorblight just kept on nipping little bits of damage off on this Snow Troll Prime and wavered him again. So just, you know, dice, boys and girls. Turn 5, so there's not a lot left, unfortunately, for the Northern Alliance at this point. He's got a wavered troll, he's got his ice elementals and his little ice queen. The snow foxes don't decide to charge the werewolves, which is probably sensible, but back up. So if the werewolves do charge in, at least they're going to be hindered on that wall, because Pathfinder doesn't help you for that. And then the naiads can come in as well, but I think it's too little too late. So the snow troll backs up and he decides, rather than charge in with the elementals, he's just going to shoot me, because I think this distance here is 9 inches. So they're chargeable now, but if the breath hits, which it almost certainly will, they'll be speed 4, and I won't be able to get that charge in unless I surge it. So he puts me up. So with the drain life and the life leech, we were down to 13, and the breath puts them up to 18 points of damage. And at that point, he needs a 6 to kill me. And guys, he rolls a 5. Very, very unfortunate. I mean, I wouldn't actually have minded losing the Revenants at that point. I don't really need them anymore, but it's just like adding insult to injury. Yeah, not fun. So, my turn 5. So we decided to just get rid of the troll to put the Revenants in place. So we flank him, bringing up the cavalry, the dragon, because my main worry now is this last, right? Because I don't want a surge into my flank or a surge at all. So the dragon flies over here, so he's within 12 of her. And Morgoth is here to drain life. We're going to get rid of the caster. And everyone just kind of chomps along. Hello, we're still here. Making sure I'm in his half. I think that's just showing the combat. And that's so we took the charge from the werewolves into the snow foxes, because why the hickety heck not? Oh, and that's even an idea of where we are now. So that's the middle of the battlefield. So I've got all this unit strength in there, and he's got, these guys aren't really going to be able to get into my half, I think, and these guys will, so I think we're doing alright. So yeah, we managed to kill off the caster. I realized when I was thinking about this that I think I rolled 4s for this breath here, because I thought, well, I'm height 6 and they're height 3, so I don't have any, she doesn't have cover, but individuals do take the cover point for being individual, so I should have rolled 5s. So not only was I winning with dice, I also cheated, but there you go. New rules and all that kind of stuff, because breath didn't used to take cover. And we killed the snow foxes in turn, so when his naiads do come in, they are hindered. And the snow troll dies, of course. And then so he takes his elementals. I think it's his turn 6. Oh, that's turn 6. Turn 6. So the I think that's maybe him taking, yeah, that's him taking off the Ice Queen. Turn 6, so the naiads take that charge, at least it gets into my half, and rather than charge into this nonsense, if you charge in here, it doesn't matter if you kill them, something's going to flank you. This, or this. It's not a nice place to be. So he backed up and decided to, at least I'm going to do is shoot off that Revenant Horde. Yep. It's just not funny. Poor guy. So they're up to 23 wounds, which means they're not even devastated. And that is the double one. That is the double one on turn 5. Poor. Very poor. Ice Knights do 4 points of damage to the werewolves. They're fine. So I just moved these Revenants up into this half of the board, so they're over the half. And I take the dragon into the flank of the elementals, and I fly Morgoth over to do Drain Life and Dread. And we counter charge, and the Naiad and the elementals die. And I don't kill the Naiads. The Naiads are alive, but they're the only thing alive. So it is a very healthy victory. Actually, it was a max points victory because I had enough units over the other side. I'd killed enough, and I won. So a 25-point victory for game 1, which was very nice. But let's face it, at least 60 to 70% of that was dice. Anyway, on to game 2. All right, so game 2 was Undead versus Undead. So again, against a friend of mine that I am very familiar with. So it's against my friend Russell, who has appeared on this channel before, and who thrashed me, and then I beat him. It was all lots of fun. So this is his Undead army. So he has gone with the old zombie troll theme. So he's got a horde of Revenants, similar to me, a horde of skeleton spearmen, which I like, for some phalanx action. 2 troops of ghouls, look familiar? But 3 hordes of zombie trolls, and one of them's elite, so that's different. A regiment of Soul Reaver Cavalry, who he's given Caterpillar to. A troop of Wraiths, rather than my regiment. A Revenant King, who he's given Surge to. A Necromancer, who he's given literally everything to, so Surge 6, Drain Life 5, Bane Chant 2, and the Vicious Aura for zombies, so that's obviously going next to the zombie trolls. And a Lich King, who he's given Bane Chant 3 and Drain Life 7 to. So that's actually the whole army. So I don't like this army as much as mine, obviously, because I like mine. I think if you're going to go zombie trolls, I think you should go zombies to go with them. And you might want a couple of necromancers with the Vicious Aura. I like the spearmen, but I don't think you should have troops of ghouls. You should have zombies. You know, if you're going to do slow-moving zombie army, you should go zombie, right? I also don't understand the Revenant King. I'm not even sure I understand the Lich King. But, you know, Lich King's okay. I think Bane Chant 3 and Drain Life 7 is nothing to be sniffed at, so I think that's fine. But the Revenant King I don't feel fits. It doesn't gel well, this whole thing. And there's too much on the Necromancer. It's just my opinion. But but obviously we're all testing out new armies and new builds. And this is the way he's gone. 3 hordes of zombie trolls, especially one with elite, is gross and terrifying. So this was the battlefield. So another very nice battlefield, and this is a village. We'll have a look at what it is in a bit. So it's got 4 height 6 houses, and a little height 3 well in the middle. So this is quite similar to the previous board. So there's one side that's got lots of stuff, and one side that doesn't. So my strategy is pretty much going to be the same. There's a big height 3 hill in the middle. There's lots of height 0 difficult terrain, and then a few walls around it. So this is the Pilkington Farmstead. 3 acres of arable land, very nice. So that's the battlefield we are on. The scenario is Salt the Earth, so this is one of the new scenarios. It's basically pillage, except there's 1 central token and then you place 3 each. And you can burn them if you don't want them to be scored. So that's the middle one. And this is where we were putting them down and we went, oh look, we've made them really nice and symmetrical. And actually this is kind of a theme I've noticed with people when they put down Salt the Earth. But the only other way that people tend to do it is like to put them right at the edge of the board and then bait people into moving on them and stuff like that. So this is how we played it out, so that's quite nice and symmetrical. And again, I was predicting there was going to be a lot of deployment here to get the most benefit out of, to basically try and grab these 4 tokens. So my tactic is to grab these 4 tokens because I like terrain and I want to be moving around these houses and using my surge and stuff. So that's where we're going to go. So I was on the bottom side. This is my side. This is Russell's side. I think Russell chose sides. Anyway, so facing down that bottom. So looking now at where are we looking? Yeah, so looking down this way, I've got the werewolves with some ghouls behind them. And then we've got Morgoth next to the wraiths. And then in the centre, we've got the dragon, the Rev Cav, and the Soul Reaver Cav behind them. And then right on the left, over that big area, we've got the Revenant Horde, with the Trooper Ghouls, the Goreblight, and the Necromancer. So, this is how I do my deployment with this army at the minute. So I did the same thing, essentially, because Russell chose, he started to put trolls down on this side of the board. So these were the first units I put down. And that gives me 4 drops in a big block. So 4 drops later, he's deployed most of his army on this side. So this is the Horde of Skeleton Spearmen. Trolls, trolls, trolls. I can't remember which ones were elite. This is his Wraiths with the Soul Reaver Cav behind them. Russell's a very good painter, by the way. Really nice models, big fan. And then when I started to put stuff on the other side, he realised what was going on. So he put his Revenants, his Horde of Revenants here. I think these are 2 troops of ghouls. That's the Mounted Revenant King behind them. That's fine, because I think I can punch through that. But the Revenants are a worry, I've got to say, because a Horde of Revenants is not easy to get rid of. I know, because I've got one, so you can see what's happened here. His whole army's over here, which he's probably quite pleased with, because he can grab 3 tokens with that and not worry about it. Whereas I've got all my punchy stuff over here. Excuse my rubbish drawing. So my plan is to get the ghouls onto this, kill all this, and then we're going to fight with the middle token. So that's my plan. So I win first turn, hurrah! Well, I think actually Russell wins first turn and gives it to me, which is kind of okay in a token-based game, but not sure. So anyway, I shoot the ghouls up because I want to hide them, and he's going to be too distracted by all this to ever worry about them. So that token is guaranteed those. And everything else moves in this kind of like arc here. So we've got speed 9, speed 7, surgible, speed 8. So whatever he does here, something's getting charged. Dragon's there to support, and I've moved the Rev Cav over here to offer some support in here. These guys have moved forward because I want him to think that I want him to bring his stuff forward here. So that's my turn 1. Yep, that's just showing you that. And then I surge the Wraiths. So I've moved them up. I surged them an obscene amount. I wanted a surge of like 3 or 4. I surged them like 6 inches forwards. Fortunately, still outside of 10. So that was a bit of luck, but a little bit further. And I used the rest of my surge to surge the Revenant Cavalry forward a bit as well. So he advances in this kind of checkerboard fashion. So equally on his side, he's thinking, yay, this is great, because I can just stick my spearmen on there, they're never going to get killed. And I've got 1 troll, 2 troll, 3 troll. So if I charge any of those trolls, we're in trouble. So notice that the middle of my unit is on the hill so I can see over. And they're faster than me, so I think this is a decent strategy. And then he's moved his Wraiths forward here. So we've got the Rev Cavs here. And I think he's just being a little bit cautious. So he's moved his Wraiths forward here, and he's got his Soul Reavers behind them. But these are defense 6. So what he's done is leave them so there's a little bit of difficult terrain. So if I do charge in here, I'm definitely going to bounce. But I don't think my 8 attacks would kill them anyway. And even if they did, what you don't want is to be stuck behind these Wraiths. And then, yeah, he kind of... so I think he's worried about what's going to come down here. So he's moved his ghouls. Personally, I would have moved one of the ghouls over the front to take the charge. Because what he's presented here is a whole front. And I've got 3 units that can go in. But there you go. And that's like that. So that's just showing where everyone is. Because there wasn't any surge or anything. Nope. Turn 2. So, yeah. I think he quickly realised the mistake. So if a ghoul was here, I wouldn't have been able to do this, and it would have been a lot less easy. As it was, I've got the Wraiths in the middle with Striders, so they're on the wall, they don't care about it. The Soul Reaver here, unhindered, and these guys have got Pathfinders, so they're unhindered. That is I mean, that's, wow, a lot of pain. And I moved Morgoth up, ready to drain life. And I realised that I can't see anything, actually. So instead of that, I'm going to have to Bane Chant, which is fine. And then on this side, I backed away. I just started to carefully back things away so that he has to spend another turn bringing all this stuff forward. And that's the Bane Chant. Bane Chant went on the werewolves. Yep. So that's 26 damage, and that you see half the unit's already been taken off. So 26 damage, down to double ones. Bye-bye, Revenants. So that was the unit I was worried about. They're gone. And then we reformed like yay. So the other thing I did was I took my Rev Cav into the Soul Reavers, because I don't really care about these wraiths. They're rubbish in terms of their ability to hit things, but I do care about the Soul Reavers. So if I can block them up with my Revenant Cav, I will. So I take that charge. Yeah, so I didn't reform. Right, I didn't want to get flanked by ghouls. I think that's why I left the Soul Reavers facing forwards. Or by the Revenant King. He's not that strong, but in the flank might be. No, well, it doesn't do anything flank as the individual. Anyway, I don't know why I did that. So, on Russell's turn, he flew the unhurt wraiths over here so he can surge them in and get a flank on my Soul Reavers, which seems fair. He countercharged with the Soul Reaver cavalry. Yeah, he's turned right. So these are, it's not the right base, but these are the troop of wraiths, and he's turned his. He's realised there's a big threat coming from over here, so he's turned one of his units of trolls around. And he's realised, so the ghouls, one ghouls went in here, two ghouls went in here with a hindered charge. So he's ignored the werewolves. He's taken out these flying guys and these guys. He realised there's nothing he can do to stop the Revenant King being charged, because it's going to be a flank if he leaves it here or here. So he's moved over here and to get this, so at least do the surging. So that's where we look. That's what we look like. Free surge. So one of the things in this tournament, this is where the hill was. So there's a little template under. So if you've got units that don't balance well on hills, you can take them off and still see where the hill was, which I think is really cool. Because see what's happened here is over here, there's a flank available. Now that's out of 10, but I can certainly move 5 and then try and get the surge in there. So that's my plan. So he's moved the other two around here to offer some threat onto these guys. And the skeletons are just sitting on their little token. So he gets the surge off. But ghouls in the front, wraiths doubled in the side, 5 points of damage onto my Soul Reavers, which is fine. Because they're 15-17, so he would have needed a 12 twice to kill them. 2 points on the wraiths, but they're fine, but they can't fly. 3 points of damage onto my Revenant Cavalry, and they're okay too. So on to turn 3. So the werewolves do a hindered nimble charge. Ba-boom, ba-boom. Over here into the Revenant King with Morgoth to support. Well, I make another stupid mistake. I was like, I'll nip over and drain life you. But then I put them behind the werewolves and now I can't see him. Hello, I'm stupid. So we countercharge here. We countercharge the wraiths because I think the wraiths are more dangerous than ghouls now. I want to get rid of them. The dragon just moves over here, ready to kind of help. And that's right, he's moved here because we've moved the revenants up. So I've got surge and I've got surge. So that is 14 points of surge for about 6. So I should be able to do that. That's where we are. So Morgoth realizing he can't drain life. By the way, do you like what I did to his cloak? I've painted screaming faces on it. Moving on. So I Bane Chanted them instead. Why not? So we get the surge off into the flank of those trolls. We do 6 points of damage onto the king, and we kill him with dread. What are they? Where are they? Oh, they kill the ghouls. That's right. They kill the ghouls. And we do 1 point of damage onto the Soul Reavers, which is rubbish, but takes off the Thunderous, so it helps them to stay for another turn. And that is the 12 points of damage, and the trolls being picked up from the flank charge. 50 attacks, even on 4s and 4s. We did 12 points of damage, so... Oh dear. Sorry. Skeletons are happy. Sitting on a little token. So then, this is Russ's turn 4. We're on turn 4? 5, 4, 3, 3, 3. It's not important. So, these trolls were out of range, but he moves them up to surge them in. These guys just charge the Revenants. And Soul Reavers counter-charged again. Very fed up to be stuck behind some Revenant Cavalry for 2 turns. So that's just the Surge. Surge is successful. In they go. So the Revenants now go up to 5 points of damage. But they live. They're dash 14. He doesn't manage the nerve roll to get them off. The most frustrating I can imagine. And there, so 18, 19, 20, 21 points of damage from the 2 trolls into my Revenants, and he rolls a double 6. So you might think, oh, double 1. No, double 6. They are dead, and he reforms like this. So on this side, we've got lots of hideous punchy stuff. This side, just a Gore Blight. So the ghouls go into the Soul Reavers, who wiped off the Wraiths last turn. Or are they Wraiths? I want to say ghouls. I think I killed the Wraiths last turn. 3 points of damage onto the Soul Reaver cavalry. So, turn 4. We're on to turn 4. Yes. So now my Wraiths flank the ghouls. And then the werewolves who've killed off that dude over there. Because there's a little tip. Because he couldn't quite kill the Revenant Cavalry. And you don't pull back an inch. There's a tip of his unit is just sitting out here. And the werewolves took that flank into his Soul Reaver cavalry. Which is nasty. Where and you see little Morgoth just flying around. Hello. So he's flown from here to here. Which is actually illegal. Because this is terrain. He should have been here. Sorry, Russell. Keep cheating. It's not intentional, I do promise. Yep, so that's where I shouldn't have been. And then... Ooh. Nice. So, we ignored this unit, trolls. Instead, we dragon flanked this unit. We had some ghouls as well. Ghouls and Gore Blight in the front. So, I figured they're dead because werewolves in the flank don't really care. So I'm going to try and get rid of this Necromancer who's annoying me. So I try and drain life in, but only manage 2 points of damage. Terrible. So that's the Radiance of the Aura of Death, whatever it's called, Cloak of Death, which does all that damage there, which is nice. Yep, Soul Reavers go. So that's not very nice. That's 14 points of damage. Kaplosh. If you're interested, that is the noise that Soul Reaver Cavalry make when they die. And that is a live action shot of the other trolls being taken off, because being flanked by a dragon, even a dragon that hits on 4s, is never nice. And we did enough chip damage on them previously to kind of get that nerve roll to get them off. So things are looking pretty good right now. We turn like this. So basically, I couldn't get my dragon out of my worm out of the way, but I was pretty happy for the trolls to charge into them, even if he dies. I've got enough stuff coming in now that I should be fine, because I've got werewolves, Soul Reaver Cavalry, even the Revenant Cavalry is still alive. So these guys, the only real option for them is to charge here into the worm, and then it's gonna be a flank or a rear from someone. So he takes that charge, because you don't really have a choice. Rev King's still alive. He's over here. Not Rev King, whatever he's called. The dude, the car. Have I missed somebody off? I can't remember. One is a Necro. One's one's the Rev King, and the other one was something else, wasn't he, on a horse? Who knows? He was a hero. These guys are casters anyway with Surge. I didn't miss it off on the list. I just can't remember what it's called. So he Bane chanted them, which is great. 7 points of damage, which is not as well as you would hope. I kind of woofed it a little bit. 18 attacks on 4, so 9. Yeah, even on 2s. Yeah, so 7 is probably about right, actually. But again, he's a dash 19, that dragon, so you need a 12 twice to get him off. And he wasn't able to roll that, unfortunately. And look at this absolute cluster. You know, wow. I mean, it's, yeah, oof. Should we just say oof? So, in summary, Soul Reaver's in the flank, Dragon in the front. I don't know why I didn't take. I think I did take the Gore Blight in the flank. Maybe it's before I moved it anyway. So the werewolves nimble charge round here into the Rev King. They can then overrun into the rear, and the Revenant Cavalry charge the Necromancer. So, ooh, ow, youch. So yeah, there you go. There's the Core Blight charging in. So they're already up to 7 with the Aura of Death, what it's called, Cloak of Death. Oh yeah, and that's just showing that the werewolves absolutely eviscerated the Revenant King and went in the rear. We didn't even roll the damage. I think that's the last. Yeah, that's the last screenshot, because we didn't even roll the damage. You just rolled the nerve, because there is. It would have taken me. We only had half the clock left, really. And then what he's got left, all the way over here, not that far actually, is a horde of skeleton spearmen, a bit like this, going hi. And we still had turn 5 and 6 to play. So we kind of worked out that even if there wasn't a turn 7, the amount of damage that was going to come in for these, it was So it was a tabling. Sorry, Russ. So there you go. So a tabling and a max point victory. So another 25-point victory. Gosh, which was very nice. Okay, so we are on to game 3. So at this point, I've had 2 max points victories. Only a 3-game tournament. So I am at the top, which is an exciting place to be. And I pretty much knew who I was going to face, because my very good friend Simon, who is my most frequent opponent, has also been doing very well. So he hasn't got 25s, but he hasn't got 24 and a 22. So I knew I was going to face up against him, and I knew he was bringing Ogres. And I've played quite a bit against version 3 Ogres, so I wasn't worried about that. But Simon's a very good player, so I knew I was going to be in for a challenge. So let's have a look at Simon's list. So he has bought 2 hordes of siege breakers, 2 hordes of boomers. 3, it's definitely not 3 hordes of Berserker Braves. Someone didn't prepare these slides very well. It's 1 horde of Berserker Braves with the Potion of the Caterpillar, a regiment of Warrior Chariots with the Striding Boots, 3 Blasters, a Sergeant with a Heavy Crossbow, an Ogre Warlock with the Inspiring Talisman and Drain Life, and Berserker Buddy. Right, so do I like this list? I like a lot of things in this list. I think Siege Breakers in version 3 are gross. I think 3 hordes of Berserker Braves would be obscene. 1 is alright. I'm not wild on Berserker Braves, because they're defense 4 and they're not fast. I prefer, in version 3, Hunters. I think Hunters are amazing. I'm not wild on Boomers either. I think because shooting has reduced in effectiveness, in a way, I think Boomers are just as devastating as always in terms of their shooting ability. But with Boomers in your list, if you face a Night Stalker, you're going to be in trouble, right? So, not wild on Boomers. I'd probably... I'd be tempted to go Shooters and then 2 Hunters. But that's just me. It's just the way I play. I think Ogre Chariots are fantastic, especially with Striding. Blasters I love. I think 3 maybe overdoing it a bit. I think 2 is probably enough. Sergeant's great. Warlock's great. Bully's great. Bully's just fantastic. So let's go on to the table. So this is the table. I didn't, unfortunately, at this point, things got shifted around and I couldn't find, I think I didn't bother to look for the little plaque telling what it is, but I think it's called something like Midgey Marshes. It's a marshland, basically. Also, the light was fading a bit because it's winter, so these are a bit dimmer photographs, but it's still a lovely table. So, we've got 3 height 0 pieces of difficult terrain, these little swampy things, 2 height 6 forests, a height 3 hill over on the side there, 2 height 6 buildings, and then these obstacles. So this is more of a, I suppose, more of a standard table. The other ones have been a lot more blocking terrain, which is a bit more kind of like a bit more of a challenge. This one I think is a lot more standard. It's got 1 hill on the side, forest in the middle, but it makes my deployment a bit more challenging because I think the best place for a melee army like Ogres to deploy is right in the middle. And I don't want somebody who's right in the middle. I like to one flank and the other flank with my army, but let's see how we deploy. Oh, scenario, plunder. So this is when you have 5 tokens across the middle, and then you choose before deployment. It's reaching for the book time, everyone. Can't remember. I did actually play the game. Plunder, plunder, plunder. Before rolling off to choose sides. After choosing sides, you nominate 1 to be worth 2. Okay, so we'll see those after our deployment. But I think it was the 2 in the middle, so I think it was this one became 2, and then this one became 2. I can't remember who chose sides either, but in terms of this board, there's not a lot between the sides, frankly. They're pretty similar. So that's important, and I'll talk about why that's important in a minute. So I deployed. So I'm on the side. This is my side. This is Simon's side. Okay. So when you're looking at this, you will see my horde in the middle. I deployed nothing here, right? So my deployment starts here and goes that way. All right, and that's where I think I made a mistake. I'll go through it in a bit, but with 2 and 2, what you need to win this, you know, there's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 points, so you need 4 to win. Yeah. So realistically, if you get those 2, you win. But I was thinking, I want these ones. So in my kind of hammer and anvil, I want my anvil here and my hammers here, so I can punch through and then swing round to get the last 2 here. I think it probably would have been better to anvil here, hammer this side. So at least I've got the chance of, you know, 3. It's a bigger stakes, isn't it? But that was a choice I made, and I think it's reasonable, isn't it, to get these 4, because realistically I know that a melee army is going to want to fight here and fight over these 2. So this is in the middle. So these are 74. You can see the banner here. It says free hugs. Ha ha ha! I'm hilarious. So that's the same units I always deploy together. So these are the Revenants and the Gorblight and the Necro and some Ghouls. And then apologies for blurry photos. I should warn you, my photos get very poor in this game. Excuses up ahead, they're not great. So blurry photo, but this is the dragon, the worm rather, and these are the wraiths. So these are behind the house. So this house, so they are sitting behind this house here. And then on the left-hand side, I've got I've hammered things. I've changed the deployment, but I put all my hammers together. So I've got my Soul Reaver Cavalry, Revenant Cavalry, Morgoth, some Ghouls, and some Werewolves all together. That is a terrifying force to face, I think. So right on the other side of the board, where I have nothing, is the bully. So quite intelligently, if we go back to here, Simon's bully is here, and my whole army is here. So he deployed the bully last, and he's going to bring the bully up, pick up that one, and come and pick up this one. Right? So that's very sound. So then in the middle, he has got, so these guys with the shields are siege breakers, one of the boomers, and he's got 2 of the boom wagons. And this guy is his warlock. And then facing off against my hammer flank, he's got his chariots, 1 boomer, berserker braves. That's the stand. Is there a standard bearer? So that's the sergeant, and that's the last blast wagon. So I think I've got enough to overwhelm this flank, but it's going to be tough because these guys are not shabby in melee. So that's what the battlefield looks like. So you can see now that this guy's going to come, pick up this 1, come, pick up this 2. These guys way outpower me. 2 Siegebreaker hordes and boomers outpower this, right? So realistically, what I'm going to try and do is bring, so the werewolves are off here. I'm going to try and bring all my stuff up fast, including these guys, overwhelm this, and then swing round. That's my plan. All right. However, I do not win the first turn. Simon does, and he cracks on. So everything moves forward to just outside of charge ranges, which is what you do. He's got his guy here with his crossbow ready to shoot at me. And there we go. That's who they're shooting at. I see. I was all right taking photographs at the beginning of the game. As the clocks ran down, let me tell you. Oof. And first turn, you know, a full 12 points up. Grab the token. Plan enacted. Very good. And then he's moved everything else forward. So because of my really not very great speed on this flank, he's moved 1 whole horde of siege breakers at the double. These guys have just moved into the woods. So there we go. And then, so in response, oh no, that's just showing you the battlefield. That's not in response. That's what things look like. I can charge a Siegebreaker horde with a dragon, and then the dragon dies. So, you know, this is a low-risk strategy. Wow, look at that close-up of that beautiful shading. You're welcome. I think it's to show, I've not made the screenshot properly, but I think there's 2 points of damage onto the dragon from his Lightning Bolt Warlock. His Lightning Bolt Warlock is in the middle here, I think. And the point of, he's got 1, 2, 3 hordes. So that makes him Lightning Bolt a billion. Anyway. So this is what I did. So I moved these 4. The Gorblight moves over there. and these guys move up a little bit. There might be a screenshot of that in a minute, but it's not very interesting. And then I move my all my stuff up. So we have got these guys are speed 6. These guys are speed 8. So he's moved his blast wagon in front of the boomers, which is sensible. And then I've moved the rev cav up so they can be charged by the, and that's where I want him to charge, because then I can bring the pain. These guys are within 18, so I can charge, but I've got some ghouls there ready as well. I'm on the hill so I can see. And then I've moved my wraiths over here up against the building. So you can see the arrow here. If you follow that arrow down, I'll try and draw it straight. It's a flank. Okay? I spent a lot of time making sure the wraiths were here and the dragons behind them so that it was a flank. Because I'm trying to use this house here as blocking so the chariots can't charge into me. Which I thought was pretty clever. However, I will tell you now, not wishing to spoil the attention, I have messed up. If you follow the line of this house across, it hits about here. So I have left this tiny amount here that the chariots can charge me. So actually, I've left myself chargeable. And this is a real lesson, is that when you're playing, so I checked with him, I said, Simon, do you agree this is a flank? And he said, yes, I do. I didn't say, do you agree you can't charge me? Because he can. And he knew he could, and he kept quiet, which is very smart. So yeah, that's just showing you there. You can see just that millimeter, and we lasered it, and it is unfortunately out because I suck. That's what they did. Told you. On to turn 2, which is about the only photograph of the turn dice I took. But look at this terrain. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nicely painted? Good job. So there you go. Opportunity seen and taken. So a flank from Crush 1 Thunder 2 Chariots into the Defense 6 Wraiths. Yeah, that's not good. And he's moved up the boom wagon behind them, which is sensible. These guys have all trundled forward, and he's now has, and he's moved this guy. He can only move 5 now, so this guy's come over for this token. Can't get it yet, but he's got this 2-point token, so he now has 3, and I have none whatsoever. So yeah, that's what else has happened. So he's flanked here. Everything else is just moved. These guys have moved up a bit to try and shoot off the Revenant Cavalry. The Blast Wagon's moved up to be a piece of chaff. I'm not. Would I use that as a piece of chaff? He's got loads of these, so he's got another one here. So yeah, probably sensible. And the Berserkers have stayed outside of 18 because what they want to do is let all this mess up and then channel in afterwards. So he's got me in a good position. So the boomers do 7 points of damage onto my Revenant Cavalry, but do not kill them, which is great. And this is the Yalad Sergeant with his crossbow, his heavy crossbow, it's 5 shots, but only manages 1 point of damage onto the ghouls, and luckily doesn't kill them in 1 turn. So yes, that's it's not turn, this is turn 2. So yeah, the wraiths just kind of evaporate in the face of a flank from that, which is not unexpected. So boo. On the other hand, what this has done, if you look at this wide shot, it is sensible to take that flank, but this is a very expensive unit, and there is now a lot of stuff that can come in. So a dragon, soul reavers, revs, pretty much everything can charge them. So they're not long for this world, and that's a pretty tasty piece, whereas my wraiths are very cheap. So in terms of a trade-off, while it was a mistake, I'm not that upset about it. So the hill is off. The hill is off. Nothing could balance, so the hill is off. So in my turn 2, I sent the ghouls into the boom wagon because I want to kill it. Because while it's a middling range threat, it's far more of a threat to charge something expensive in the flank. So I hope the ghouls can do it. It's only a -10. It is defense, I want to say defense 5, 4, 5, 4. Let's have a look in the book. So the Red Goblin Blaster is defense 5, right? It's defense 5, so that's, yeah, I might do a couple of points of damage, it might just be enough. So the Rev Cav charge into the Ogres, and I take the Soul Reavers into the Chariots, because I think Soul Reavers can evaporate them. Let's find out. And we've got Morgoth just popped over the back here, out of everyone's charge range, to offer dread on all of those combats. He does, however, he drain lives this Blast Wagon and kills it, so that's good. couldn't quite get him in for the blast wagon, which is a shame. Up here, I've moved my Gorblight round here, because what I want to do is kind of sneak him around and then surge him into something, preferably this bully. And these guys have just we've moved backwards. So there was a 12-inch charge available, and I've moved them backwards just to kind of buy me some time on the right-hand flank. So there are, what's that showing? Who knows? Maybe just showing what Morgoth is. Anyway, so we manage, so with life leech, we drain life a bit from Morgoth. We smash him with the Soul Reavers and get the chariot, which is great. Notice there is a token here. So the Rev Cav got healed a little bit, which is nice. And then we overrun. So this is really interesting because from here you can see I am within the line of sight of the blast wagon, and it's a chariot base. That means that he can simply pivot, like let's say like that next turn if I just stay there, and it's a flank. And a flank from that is very, very nasty. So I looked at the maths and I did some lasering, as you do, and I figured if I overrun 3 inches, I will be out. Or I could turn and take the front, which I'd probably survive. And because I'm that kind of a chap, I rolled for the overrun and I rolled a 3. Ha 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 ha. So now it's down like this. And actually I didn't think about whether he could back up and see me, but fortunately because of the angles, even with a backup of 1 inch, he still can't see me. Phew! And you can see I've only done 1 point of damage onto the blast wagon. I didn't roll a 9, so that is still alive, which is not great. Turn 3! And I think I failed. Did I do 1 wound with the Rev Cavs? I think I did a couple of 1 wound, 1 or 2. Basically they can't shoot. So, turn 3. If a Red Goblin Blaster attacks something, it explodes and dies. So, Simon did not wish to attack the ghouls. So instead, he backed up and turned. And then he sent the, what's his name? Sergeant into the ghouls, which I think is probably a better choice. So he's countercharged with the boomers. And he's decided that hanging around isn't sensible, because actually a front charge from werewolves isn't going to kill these berserkers, and then he would be able to countercharge and probably kill me because he's got 30 attacks and I've only got 18. So that's a good move. And then, so I went to the loo at this point, and I came back, and I looked at what he had done, and I was like, oh. So what he's done is this. So he's brought his bully forward to pick up this other token and moved up here. That's fine. And he's put the blast wagon in front as a bit of chaff, which is sensible, with these siege breakers behind. But then he's picked up the token last turn with these guys, and he's turned them around. And he's done this because, let's see if okay. So these boomers have turned because they want to shoot at the Soul Reaver Cav that are there. That's sensible-ish. So he's looked at this distance here. So here's a movement 5, let's say to about here, unit. He's looked at that distance. It's about 11 inches. And he's like, well, you've got a Surge 6 Necromancer. You're not going to make it. I'm safe. Well, he has forgotten about Morgoth and the dragon, both of whom are undamaged. So I've got Surge, let's see, 18, 24 in this army. I can absolutely make this surge. There is no question. So I saw this and was like, this is my chance. This is my chance. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to rear charge these siege breakers. So, and then over here, what happened here last turn? Oh, yes, yeah, this is just the damage. Okie dokie. So the boomers do a single point of damage onto the Soul Reaver Cav, which is very, very, very poor. Oh, notice, by the way, that these berserkers have also picked up a token. Oh, no, maybe I had a single point of damage. Who did a single point of damage? Oh, it's the grenades. He's grenaded me with his boom wagon. Couldn't grenade me. That's impossible, because he was hurt last turn. Maybe we did that wrong. Who cares? So the boomers do put an extra 3 points of damage. They put them up to 4, so they're fine. However, the ghouls are less fine, so the sergeant whacks into them, does 4 points of damage, takes them off. Very good. And the Revenant Cavalry also get boomered. Well, they get just hit with giant cannons over the head, and they will die as their 10 points of damage they took, and they're dead as well. So, in my turn 3, so I take this charge. So if you look here, I can very much see these guys here. It's hindered, so bablam, it's hindered, but I still fancy my chances. So I take that to charge here, and I move my Revenants up, and you can see here, actually it's less than 11. It looks like a 7 to me. So Morgoth has come here. We've got Surge 6, Surge 10. That's going to happen. And the Goreblight, not wanting to be charged by the Blast Wagon, because the Goreblight was here, just shifts left. I don't think I could charge unhindered. And even if I did, right, yeah, I actually could charge hindered into here. Ooh, that's not very good. I could charge hindered into here, but then his Siege Breakers are going to kill my Goreblight, and I don't want that. And whereas if I do this Surge, I'm going to end up here-ish, and I'll be out of their line of sight. And so that's a much better position to be in. So over here, the Werewolves, not wanting to face up against Berserkers, decided to take the flank onto the Blast Wagon, because then I can just turn. I'll be out of line of sight of the Berserkers, and I've only got Sergeant to charge, which I'm not worried about. I take the Dragon into the Boomers, which is not my ideal choice. It's not my favourite thing to do. However, I don't want them shooting me, so I'm going to try and get rid of them with the Dragon. However, I only do 3 points of damage, which is fair, actually. That's fair, because if you think about it, I hit on 4s. It's 10 attacks on 4s, and then on 2s. So 3 is, there or thereabouts, and no wave or anything. So that's rubbish, but I'm a dash 19, so I can take a charge. The Blaster blasts and dies. I think I turn like that, which was my plan. And even better, the Soul Reaver Cavalry knock it out of the park and evaporate the Boomers in one go, which I didn't necessarily expect, but I certainly was very pleased by, and I took their token that they were sitting on. So, oh, no, I did it with my token. I took the token with me as my token. Okay, so that's great. Well done, me. And even better, I managed the Surge. I absolutely, 75 attacks. It was gross. And I'm facing now this way, because I want these. That's where the money is. So I've really pulled this back, I think, from that first mistake. I'm really pleased with how this has gone. However, I have made a mistake. If you can see, I moved the Netco up to Surge, and then didn't think about his positioning, because that is less than 12. So those Siege Breakers can now come in and kill my Necromancer. It's not a massive loss. He's a source of Inspiring. I've got quite a lot of Inspiring, but it puts them in a place I don't want them. I want them here, so I can carry on and get the Bully, but it puts them over here, and I'm going to have to deal with them with something, and the something is probably going to be the Revenants. Turn 4. So yes, he takes that charge. That's a nicer picture, isn't it? It's nice playing with good models on a nice board against a well-painted opponent, I would have to say. So anyway, he takes that charge. Well done. Very smart. And then, yeah, this is when it starts to happen. So we're in turn 4 now. Look at this lad. He's just like, bye! Overheat. 3 points of tokens on him. I've got 3, but he's got 4 altogether. So he's legging it off over there. He's still got a Warlock, and his Blast Wagon turns this way because he wants to threaten my Horde. And my Goreblight is not in a place that I need him to be, so that's not great. So, having turned over here, so the Boomers go back into my Worm. He takes the Sergeant into the Werewolves to pin them down, really, because then he's got his Berserkers to come in afterwards. I can, of course, Nimble Charge, though, so we're going to see what happens there. And then he Lightning Bolts me with the Warlock, putting me up to 4 damage. That's nothing to worry about. And yeah, that's the death of the Necromancer. Now he's turning. 1 point of damage onto my Werewolves, so not enough to worry about. And the Boomers counter charging into the Dragon. How much did he have before? He had 2 before. He's now up to 6. So 4 points of damage. So that's very disappointing for the Boomers from their attacks. And then so my turn. I look at what I've got here and decide that this is a really big threat. They're only on 1 point of damage, and I need to sort them out. So I take the Revenants into the Red Goblin Blaster, and I bring the Goreblight. The Goreblight's too slow to get up here and do anything about this guy. I'm going to have to Morgoth him. So I bring them over here. I couldn't charge, but I brought him over just in case they survive one more turn. So I take the Soul Reaver Cavalry. Again, it's a hindered charge into the Siege Breakers. So that's not going to kill them. They're going to survive one more turn, but I think I can take a charge from them. Let's find out. And then Morgoth flies way over here because his sole concern now is getting rid of this guy. And I've got 3 turns to do it. Not wishing to continue this slap fight with the dragon disengages, turns, and comes this way. And then I nimble charge. So don't forget the werewolves were here originally. So I back up an inch, and then I nimble pivot, like, let's try and draw it like this, which means I can come into the flank of the boomers to get rid of them, and even better, I'm out of the charge arc of the berserkers, so that's good. So Morgoth flubs his roll a little bit, so he's drained life 9, puts 3 wounds onto the bully. The bully is a -14, so that's what I need to kill. Get him up to 3, but don't manage any wave or anything. I've got 2 more turns, or 1 more turn, 2 more turns, 2 more turns. Got 5 and 6 to go. We do 3 points of damage onto the Red Goblin Blaster. Who dies? Doesn't die. Who doesn't die? That's bad. Yes, no, I don't kill him. Terrible. Even with Drain Life, even with Dread. However, I do waver the Siege Breakers, which is fantastic. That's a weight off my mind. So they're 5 points of damage from that charge, which is terrible. But I think I roll a 9, which is what's needed to waver. And also we have Cloak of Death from this guy, which helps. So only 4 points of damage from the charge. Turn 5. So it's all getting a bit tense now. You can see how tense it is because that's the photographs I'm taking. And Simon's a very good friend of mine, right? So we are chatting away quite a bit, and I'm a chatty person, as you might be able to tell. The clocks are ticking down. I look at the clock at turn 5. We've got 2 minutes left each-ish. Right? So the most hurried of photographs. So the boom wagon blows up on me, does hardly any damage. I think it's 5, 1 point of damage, something like that. Rubbish. It's absolutely. I do apologise for the photographs. So having turned, he takes the. Is that mine or his? I think that's mine. Yeah, I think this is that. I think I run out of photographs here. So to explain what happens, we go back on this side. So I kill the boomers. Didn't take a photograph, and I turn them like this. And then he just turns his stuff round, I think, because he just doesn't care. Yeah, he turns his stuff round, so I can't really get away, which is fine. So these guys turn like this, and this guy turns around. So I'm facing this way. So then on my turn, I take the werewolves into the berserkers, and I bring the dragon back over. So I turn him 180 and bring him over 10 and breathe on the sergeant, but I don't kill him, which is frustrating. But breath on that dragon is really terrible. So then on his turn 5, he countercharges. So he rear charges with the sergeant and he countercharges with the berserkers, but they don't kill me. So that's very much a standoff at the end of turn 5. The blast dragon blows me up. That's that combat that I told you about. Right, and that's the last screenshot because we all run out of time, and this is very, 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 very interesting. So I kill off. So his siege breakers can't do anything because they're wavered. So I kill them. My ghouls run up and pick up the token that was just lying in the middle. Got a picture of that? Probably not. Wow, we're going back now. So basically, when I charge my Soul Reavers down here, they leave the token that they had here, and I bring the ghouls up here. So Simon brings his warlock over to try and lightning bolt them off, but doesn't manage it. Okay. Then this bully goes a full 10 over here. And in my turn 5 or 6, right, so he brings him forward 10, and I drain him again, and I don't kill him on turn 5. Okay, so then he's up to about 7 or 8 wounds by this point, even with dread. Okay, so it comes to turn 6. So at the end of my turn 5, These guys are dead. This guy is dead. This guy is still alive, but we don't care. And then on this side of the battlefield, these guys are dead. Both these guys are alive. And my werewolves are here. Okay. So on Simon's turn 6, he doesn't manage to kill the werewolves. The werewolves are okay. Right, so realistically, by this point, these guys are on quite a lot of damage. I can't remember how much. So another round of combat's going to kill them, and I've got a dragon to come in the flank. This guy is still alive. I've got 1 drain life to do to kill him, and he'll drop the tokens, at which point I will have 3, and he will have 1. And I have 1 second left on the clock. There he is, 6 damage. This is the end of turn 5. Simon's done his turn, and he's simply moved here. He's rolled the combat that's over there with the werewolves, and he's flubbed it. And I can't roll because I've run out of time. 1 second is not enough time to move a model, roll 9 dice, resolve them, and do the nerve check. So I am I am 1 combat, 1 roll, so 9 dice, resolve them, nerve check, away from winning. Because and we rolled it just for fun. He definitely died. And I couldn't do it. So, at the end of the tournament, it was an ogre victory. Because I talk too much and mess around. Yeah, timed out. Timed out 1 roll from victory. What a shame! But on the other hand, it's a good friend that won, so I'm actually not that bothered, to be honest. Really fun, and wow, did my army work well. I think my opponents made fair few mistakes in the first couple of games. Definitely not in the second one. Much in the third one rather. Much closer, as it always is when I play Simon. And he had a well-deserved victory, and he'd done very well through the tournament. So Simon ended up taking the tournament. And because I lost, it was a big victory because I killed most of his army. A big loss, rather. So I think it ended up 21-12, something like that. So I had 5 for a loss. And then I had, I think, 4 points for the amount that I'd killed. And then 3 points because that's the tokens that I had. So, yeah, big loss. But someone managed to leapfrog me, so I ended up third. Ended up third, which is very good, and I'm very happy with that. So it went really well. So that was the end of the tournament. Here's a few of the armies that were on display. Really nicely painted armies this time. Actually, there was only one that was kind of not fully painted, and the way it was laid out was actually really cool. So this was our first version 3 tournament, as I said. Really well run. It ran to time without any particular issues. The board's fantastic, and I know that Richard and Stefan, who are the TOs from Celestial Forge, put a lot of effort into their board. They're really proud of them, and particularly with the that's my army, into the layouts and the kind of the fluff that lies behind each of those boards. So really good time was had by all. Like I said, I think my army did really well. I was particularly pleased with how I kind of worked through the tactics and strategy of each of them. And it's a salutary lesson in clock management, because I could have run away with the whole thing. I'm not sure I'm going to play Undead particularly going forwards. They're a fun army to have. I want to try different configurations with maybe death packs and whites and stuff. I haven't got any models as of yet. So I want to bring the Ratkin in. I want to try out some new Ratkin armies and see how they go. I hope you enjoyed this tournament report. If you didn't, please feel free to yell at me in the comments and tell me all the mistakes that I made. I cheated significantly less than usual, which I think is good. It's never intentional, but you know, rules and that kind of thing. But we seem to have got the hang of version 3 rules. So that's it for now. Hope you liked it, and we'll see you next time on Death by Dragons.